everybody, this is Johna with SJB Vintage Furniture Painter in Searcy, Arkansas. My retail shop though is located in a small town a little down the road from here. It's in Judsonia, Arkansas. It's called Family and Friends Emporium, and I am located inside that in my own little retail space. I have a little booth over there. Where I am a Dixie Belle Premier retailer, soon to be Elite retailer. So I'll be carrying the silk line as well. So I pretty much just started selling Dixie Belle a few years ago, and I've used it religiously the entire time, and I just have never found a product that I love as much as Dixie Belle. So I'm trying to put some tutorials together that can play in my booth on a kind of continual loop. That will answer questions for folks that are looking to paint their projects. When I'm not there, I have a lot of different ways that you can reach out and get me and ask questions, but I think maybe just watching the process. So this piece that I'm working on, and I'm in our little guest house that's on the property. It's actually my husband's mother's little house that he remodeled as a hunting shack for him and his buddies. And when it's freezing cold, I paint in here a lot. And it's freezing cold in Arkansas. So I want to show you first what I'm working on. So this is an old, and I'm sorry, my camera angle's a little off, but this is an old buffet that I picked up on Facebook Market. I find a lot of my pieces on Marketplace. And so it had originally, you can see right now, I have some putty. Dixie mud is what I use. It's just a wood putty, but it's a product that Dixie Belle puts out, and I have a really hard time using wood putty and making it look like smooth finished piece whenever I'm done using it. So like the wood putty that I buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart, I call it man putty. It's hard for me to use. It's tough and doesn't smooth real easy. So Dixie Belle mud goes on, and I will show you the application of mud on the next project, I promise, but it goes on super smooth. It's rough right now. I just put it on, so it's wet. But I think it's good to show you that, because probably by the time we finish this video, it's going to already be drying, and I can take my sandpaper and go back over it and get it ready to paint. So this piece had some really dated 1970s wood carving in both of its doors. And I want to update the piece a little bit, give it a new look. So I'm going to replace all of that. I'm going to put some corner wood U-bend pieces to give it just a whole different look. And then this piece has these beautiful Jacobean legs, which are my favorite. If you know me well, then you know that I love to paint, number one, old vanities, and number two, Jacobean buffet pieces, or the little china cabinets that have the really pretty curvy legs. Maybe I can get that a little closer. So pretty. And I do all sorts of different finishes on those legs. The last 2 or 3 pieces I've sanded those down and done wood stain, and brought them back to wood, and then had the piece painted, but then with the wood leg. This time I want to try Moonshine Metallics on this piece. I'm doing this piece in, let me show you. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be sold on these colors. I'm going to try them and see. So this piece, I wanted to have some kind of earthy green tones, but lighter, almost taupe with green, with like taupe undertones. So this one is called Dixie Belle Spanish Moss. I'm sure it's backward. Sorry. Spanish Moss. It's a really pretty color. And then I love to highlight my pieces to give them a little glow in the center. And so the highlight color, and I think it just works beautifully, is called Dried Sage. Again, probably not a good view, but you can see these two colors. They're so close. There's going to be very little contrast, and it's going to be, it's not going to look like we've put different paint colors together. We hope that the finish will be that it's just blended seamlessly. So the front of this piece needs to The mud needs to dry, but I think I'm going to go ahead and put the base coat on. And you guys are tired of hearing me talk, right? Yeah, I know. Me too. And so I'm going to open my paint. I waited to do that so I could show you how the containers look. I'm going to lay paint today with my oval medium. If you know me, I never ever do that. I like to use my Dixie Belle Mini. And I have 2 or 3 paint projects going on, and my Dixie Belle Mini is currently over in my retail space. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to use a little Wooster short brush and save my oval medium for blending. So I always use a hairstylist mister. And these will be back in my shop. Hopefully by tomorrow. I have a shipment coming from Dixie Belle. They've all been on back order. We've had a hard time getting them. So I'm just going to shake it. Give it a good shake. You probably should stir things. I never do. There are some products that I stir. I always stir my mousse when I'm opening it. I always stir Dixie Belle Gator Hide. You really need to stir off the bottom. But my paints, I just shake them. And I use my paints so fast. I'm super messy with them. Some people pour into another container and they use it out of that. I paint 2 or 3 pieces of furniture a week. So this will not last me very long. So I'm going to just put my paint down there. Hopefully I've got this where you can see. So stop talking, right? And just lay some paint. So the top of this piece has been sanded down to bare wood. And you can see that it's ready to have gel stain put on. I don't know for sure yet. I'm probably going to do a custom mix. I'm probably going to do some Dixie Belle dark walnut gel stain. It's called No Pain Gel Stain. It's fabulous. It's a really good product. I'm probably going to do that. But maybe mix a little bit of, and I always use my paint out of my lid first. I don't want to waste my paint. I'm probably going to mix a little bit of espresso, which will give me, it'll just kind of make it richer. It'll be a little bit darker. But you see, I mean, I'm pretty much going every direction when I'm putting paint on. But, so you can go, let's see if I can move so you can see. You can go any direction you want. But you should, at the end, just come back with a really light hand, same direction, with the wood grain, and get it completely without any brush strokes. Dixie Belle is beautiful. It goes on with no brush strokes. If you have a light hand and you know what you're doing, it is a beautiful paint. I always paint the lips, the inside lips of my furniture. Kind of an extra step. I know a lot of furniture painters don't do that. I like my pieces to look really finished. So I don't want anybody to buy a piece of my furniture and then have wood peeking out at them somewhere. So I just do the insides too, and that way I don't have to worry. So you can see, I mean, this just goes on. And again, this door we're just going to leave because I'm going to have to come back and do some work on it. So I'm just going to paint around it for the purpose of getting some paint on here for you guys to see. Goes on super easy. You do not really have to have your water mister on your first coat. Typically your paint goes on really smooth. It is a very creamy, a lot of chalk paints, chalk mineral paints, chalk paints are super thick. This one is very fluidy. I mean, it has some thickness, but it does not go on like concrete. A lot of chalk paints go on like concrete. And I find those really hard to use. I'm not a big fan of those. So again, I do all the insides. I'm actually going to paint over my hardware on this piece. Just the hardware, the hinges. A lot of times I don't do that. A lot of times I take those off and I completely, I will spray them with, if they're good, I'll spray them with oil rub bronze. And then I like to do like gilding waxes and different things to make them look super pretty. But this set, I'm just going to paint right over They're the old, it's kind of an old buffet. It's not great looking hardware, so I'm gonna hide it. I'm gonna blend it in. And you can see I'm just putting on paint. I mean, there's nothing to it. And I'm gonna put a little bit of water because I actually have I sanded this piece a little bit, so it'll drag a little bit sometimes when you're sanding it. So you're just putting paint on, you're just laying paint. Look how smooth it is. This is a pretty light color, and you guys can see I'm already getting incredible coverage. It's getting really good coverage. Just on that first coat. So, super easy to use. And I need things to be super easy to use. You know, we have enough to deal with work and family and chores, and painting for me is therapy. It helps me relax. I just really enjoy it, and I love the product. I can tell you pretty much anything you want to know about it. I've used it that long. Another good thing about Dixie Belle too, you guys, is they have a ton of social media support, which means Dixie Belle has a Facebook page. They have brand ambassadors and other retailers, content creators who are currently jumping on their Facebook pages and doing Facebook Lives to show you how to use different products. Also to share techniques with you. And y'all, there's a lot of furniture flippers and painters in my area. Some of them are not so nice with, if you ask them a question about, you know, how did you get that finish? I've not done that, but I've watched a lady asking one of the painters that I've been around, and she didn't want to tell her. You could tell she didn't want to tell her. It was like, well, you know, that's just one of my techniques. And then I heard another painter telling our shop owner one time that, you know, we were stealing her ideas. I got super tickled at that because, y'all, these finishes for the most part have been around forever. None of us can really take credit. Each one of us as furniture painters put our own spin on it. You know, I think two of us can do the exact same finish and it will look different. It's the nature of it. It requires some creative input by the painter, and that shows. And also how we finish things. I mean, so our pieces are never going to look identical, and so we can use the same techniques and get very different outcomes. But those furniture painters, it's like they have some guarded secret and they don't want to share. Well, Dixie Belle wants to share. They have social media to support us, to teach us how to use the products. They have Dixie Belle University for those of us who are retailers, because they want to make sure we know how to use the products and we know what to say to you as consumers or fellow painters, that we know how to answer your questions about the products. It's not fun to go to a paint booth and ask the retailer a question and then them tell you, well, I don't know, but, you know, I'll try to find out. I try to make it a point to know before I ever get the product in stock. I'm going to research it. I'm going to watch our brand ambassadors tutorials on the products and really understand the product and know it myself. Because I do think people, you know, they want you to be knowledgeable and be able to tell them how to use it. So there's the difference between me and some of the other furniture artists in our area. Is I like the interaction with other painters. I like to share our methods and talk about, you know, how we achieved a finish. And I find it flattering for another artist to come over and say, hey, I want to do that wax blending or that smudgy blending, or I want to do paint blending. Can you show me? And absolutely, I'll show you. And if I can't show you something, we'll learn together. We'll jump on Facebook and find a Dixie Belle brand ambassador. They pretty much know the product like the back of their hands as well. So, and I'm just going to move that door. Like I said, I'm normally painting the door fronts with you right now, but this one I didn't want to wait on. That Dixie mud, I need to do some sanding and get it super smooth. So you see, and I do a lot of brushing. You don't have to. It's just kind of my process. My process is scattered. But I can go every direction. I could do any direction I want, as long as I come back at the end and clean it up in the same direction. There will be no brush strokes. You'll see it'll start drying, and then you see your wood peeking back through. So I always do at least 2 coats of my paint. If I'm doing a really light color, like let's say Fluff, Dixie Belle Fluff, which is a beautiful white with soft kind of gray undertones. If I'm doing that one, you know, I may need a little bit of touch up as far as like a third little touch up here and there. I've never had to do a complete third coat on anything. But I have had to do touch up coats. So, you know, where it's just a little lighter here or there. So you kind of get the idea. And like I said, normally I like to sand these legs. I just do. They're so pretty. But I want to try a little of our Moonshine Metallic. I use the product a lot, but I want to do it on just these legs. And I'm going to use, it's called Still Magnolia. And I'm actually probably going to come back here tomorrow off video and hit these legs possibly with Hurricane Gray. And then put that Moonshine Metallic over. I find it gets really good coverage over the dark colors. You won't see the gray at all. You'll just see a really pretty shiny finish. So, may do that. I'm going to wait and see how it looks over this color too. So you see, I mean, your first coat, there's just not much to it, y'all. You just put you just paint. You just get your paintbrush and you really can't mess it up. It's pretty much any direction you want. And you're just getting coverage. On your first coat, you're not perfecting your finish at all. You're just putting paint on. You're laying paint, getting your coverage. You'll come back on your second coat, and that's where you're gonna really spend time and you're gonna perfect your finish. But already this, I'm gonna love this color. It's just pretty. It has really warm undertones. I think it's gonna turn out really pretty. So I'm gonna do this one more little side with you guys, and then I'll jump off and get busy. Quit talking, right? Get busy. So more paint. There's not a lot of paint. You don't need it. It gets very good coverage. I'm gonna put a little water because, like I told y'all, I did do some sanding on this piece, and it just helps your paint move. So I'll just go every direction. It doesn't matter. As long as my final movement on that paint, as long as the final thing I do is come back in the same direction and clean it up. So you get rid of any pesky brush strokes. Same thing here. Buffets are probably my favorite thing. Buffets and dressers are just my favorite thing to paint. They're just relaxing. Probably my best sellers at my retail space, probably kitchen tables and chairs. People are always looking for French country inspired or farmhouse inspired tables and chairs, dining room sets. And so I do a lot of those, but and I don't mind doing them at all. And like I said, it's my best seller. But there's a lot of work involved in tables and chairs. There is in everything, honestly. But you see, this is just, it's super relaxing. There's nothing hard about it. I'm just sitting here laying paint. So relaxing. You don't have to think about anything. So with tables, you know, there's a lot more sanding. There's a lot more, see how I'm just going every direction just to get the paint on. And then just coming back, same direction, cleaning it up. If you watch me paint, this is how I always paint. Water in my brush. It goes super easy that way. If you feel your paintbrush kind of dragging with the paint, then that's when you just hit it with water. You absolutely should invest in a hairstylist mister, or any one of us retailers usually carry them. Dixie Belle provides them for us to sell to you guys. It's just a lifesaver. You will just enjoy the experience so much more using all these little shortcuts that we've all learned that nobody told us in the beginning. So, you know, it's nice to know. I'm just getting my first coat on, so there's no work to this. You just lay your paint. Paint goes on super smooth. Dixie Belle paint is a water-based product. No VOCs, no volatile organic compounds off-gassing and, you know, causing you any trouble. There's just hardly any odor at all involved with it. I paint in our facility. I run a mental health facility. I'm the administrator there, and I will sit out in the hallway during activities and paint with my residents with this paint. And even my COPD, chronic lung patients, they don't mind, and they are very sensitive to smells. Smells really bother them. This paint has no odor. So, you know, I can paint with it and not worry about anything. I could have, you know, my kids playing in it, and it's going to be fine. It's totally safe. So you're seeing, that's one coat. And the coverage with one coat is just phenomenal. We'll come back with the same paint and we'll do a second coat and top coat it, and then whatever I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Sometimes that kind of happens while I'm working on it, but I'll try to add a video for you guys to show you how to apply the Would You Bin molding onto a piece. I'm addicted to them. They're so pretty. And so I'll try to do that. And then also I'll come back and try to do a video of the legs getting the moonshine metallic put on, so you can kind of see how that works. I will do 2 coats of paint on this, and then I will do blending. And honestly, that's all there is to it. It's a very simple product to use. You will get a ton of furniture out of, I can get 2 to 3 really big pieces of furniture out of one 16 ounce. So it goes a long way. Anyway, I hope this video helps just to see how simple it is to lay paint with Dixie Belle paint. And again, I'll try to pop on and do some of the finishing stuff so you can learn that too. Have a great day.